The film Rust Valley Restores becomes more than a show about cars when examined through the lens of companionship, identity, and the slow dance between nostalgia and reinvention, and the theme "A Little Help from My Friends" resonates throughout every frame, as if the cameras were merely documenting a living workshop where history breathes through steel and dust, and friendship is the real engine behind every restoration decision and conflict that arises. When watching the film, I realized that the emotional weight of this theme is not conveyed through dramatic speeches, but through tiny gestures, such as a hand brushing over an old hood, a frustrated glance exchanged during a difficult repair, or the satisfied grin when a worn-down vehicle finally wakes up and rattles with new life. The film appears to understand something essential about human beings, which is that we do not rebuild cars merely to admire their polished surfaces, but because we desire to fix something within ourselves, to reclaim small pieces of time, to celebrate the bonds we form with the people who share this obsession. What strikes me most in the opening scenes is not the scale of the junkyard, nor the endless rows of rust-eaten classics, but the mood created by the team as they approach their projects with a mix of fearlessness and vulnerability, and there is a sense that the cars are mirrors reflecting moments of their own lives. When Mike Ryan stands beside a decrepit shell that barely resembles a vehicle, he approaches it the way one might approach an old friend who has fallen on hard times, with a gentle mix of honesty and hope, and he describes what needs to be replaced not with judgment, but with genuine affection, which demonstrates the emotional relationship he has cultivated with the machines that surround him. It almost feels as though he hears them speak, whispering fragments of their histories, urging him to notice details others would overlook. The film captures this connection through shots that linger on textures of rust and chipped paint, drawing viewers into the tactile language of decay. Watching these sequences reminds me of my first experience restoring an old bicycle with my grandfather, who insisted that every scratch had a story and that repairing something is a way of respecting those stories rather than erasing them. Rust Valley Restores channels this philosophy throughout its run and uses it to shape its narrative rhythm. As the film progresses, it becomes clear that the challenges with the cars are not isolated technical obstacles, but emotional tests that reveal the personalities of the team and highlight the delicate balance between passion and practicality. Avery Schoaf brings comedic chaos, but beneath the humor, there is a sincerity that grounds the tension whenever a build becomes overwhelming. He often jumps into scenes with playful interruptions or wild ideas that appear illogical on the surface, yet somehow lead the team toward creative problem-solving. His dynamic with Mike is particularly compelling because it reflects a real-life friendship where disagreement is common, but loyalty remains untouched. There is a moment in the film when the two stand face-to-face in a disagreement over the direction of a custom build, and although the conflict appears genuine, it is resolved through a mutual understanding that the project is bigger than either person's pride. The scene is not overly dramatic, but instead quietly sincere, which is why it feels realistic. I have been in workshops where emotions run high and debates escalate quickly, but when genuine friendship exists, the argument becomes a tool rather than a breaking point. The film captures this nuance so well that I felt as if I were there, smelling the motor oil and hearing the echo of tools striking metal, while the two men worked out their differences through action instead of argument. One of the most beautifully crafted sequences in the film centers on a car that seems beyond saving, a relic that even experienced restorers would deem unsalvageable. The team gathers around it, each offering a different perspective. Connor Ryan, often the bridge between youthful enthusiasm and grounded practicality, expresses doubts, but also reveals that he sees potential where others might not. His presence in the film is essential because he embodies generational continuity, representing the transfer of passion from mentor to apprentice and from father to son. At the same time, he provides a lens through which the audience can observe how restoration is not merely technical craftsmanship, but a form of guardianship, a responsibility to the past. The camera moves slowly from one team member to another, allowing the viewer to see their reactions as they evaluate the car. It becomes a collective meditation on effort, possibility, and passion. That sequence made me think of a time when I nearly gave up on a personal project because it seemed too difficult. Watching them confront the wrecked car reminded me that inspiration often emerges from collaboration and that even insurmountable tasks become manageable when shared among friends. Throughout Rust Valley Restores, the pacing of scenes mirrors the rhythm of real restoration work, which alternates between intense bursts of energy and long stretches of silent concentration. The show does not hide the frustration or uncertainty that comes with these projects. There are moments where the team must take risks, whether it is cutting into a frame that has been weakened by decades of corrosion or sourcing a part that is nearly impossible to find. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to highlight camaraderie and resourcefulness. The sound design reinforces this theme by emphasizing the clinking of tools, the scraping of rust, and the satisfying rumble when an engine finally turns over. These sounds form a musical backdrop that reflects the emotional core of the film. I found myself becoming increasingly absorbed in these quiet details because they evoke a sense of authenticity that few restoration shows achieve. The film does not try to create artificial drama, but instead focuses on the integrity of the craft, trusting that the audience will appreciate the reality of trial and error. As the narrative deepens, the question of why people restore old vehicles grows more significant. Some customers featured in the film seek to resurrect a car tied to a cherished memory. Others desire something unique and bold, and still others simply want the satisfaction of seeing a forgotten relic brought back to life. These varied motivations help the viewer understand that restoration is a deeply personal act. The film explores this idea by presenting short conversations that reveal intimate glimpses into the customers' lives. I remember one scene in which a customer describes the car as a symbol of resilience, something that endured time and weather and deserved to be revived. The sincerity in their voice left a lasting impression on me because it highlighted the emotional connection between people and objects. Rust Valley Restores uses these conversations to enrich its narrative, transforming each project into a small journey through personal history. The film also examines themes of perseverance and self-identity, especially in moments where the team faces setbacks such as budgets running tight or hidden damage pushing deadlines further than expected. Rather than framing these obstacles as failures, the film uses them to underscore the determination of the characters. The show has a rare quality where even mistakes feel valuable because they reveal the human element behind the craft. No matter how skilled someone becomes, they will always face challenges that test their patience and ingenuity. Watching the team navigate these setbacks reminded me of the importance of humility in any creative endeavor. A restoration shop is a place where ego must yield to reality, where even experts must be willing to learn from every project. Another compelling aspect of Rust Valley Restores is the ethical dimension of preserving automotive history. In several scenes, the team debates whether a car should be restored to factory specifications or modified with modern features. These discussions highlight the tension between authenticity and innovation. It is a philosophical question that extends beyond the confines of the shop because it reflects how society as a whole approaches history. Should we protect the past exactly as it was or reinterpret it to better suit the present? The film does not provide a definitive answer, but instead celebrates the diversity of perspectives among the team. This openness allows the viewer to reflect on their own relationship with nostalgia and progress. Although the show is rooted in the world of mechanics, it often feels like a character study. The friendships are the emotional backbone of the story, and the film explores them with tenderness. Scenes showing the team laughing over inside jokes, sharing meals, or supporting one another during personal struggles are woven seamlessly into the narrative. These quiet moments carry as much weight as the dramatic reveals of finished cars. They remind the viewer that community is built not only through shared goals, but through shared time. One of the most touching scenes occurs when the team finishes a car that held deep sentimental value to a customer. Instead of focusing solely on the polished chrome and shining paint, the camera lingers on the faces of the restorers as they watch the customer react. Their expressions reveal a blend of pride, relief, and empathy. It is a moment that captures the film's core message, that restoring something for someone else can be a profound act of kindness. By the end of the film, the theme, "A Little Help from My Friends," feels fully realized because every scene reinforces the idea that restoration is a collaborative art form. The film demonstrates that skills alone are insufficient without trust, humor, and emotional resilience. Rust Valley Restorers succeeds not merely as a documentary-style show, but as a heartfelt exploration of passion, memory, and friendship. It reminded me that the most meaningful achievements in life often arise from collective effort, and that the journey of repairing something broken can deeply transform the people involved.